Alright y'all, today we're going to be making some Snickerdoodle Cheesecake Cups with a homemade caramel drizzle. I start by adding 3 cups of flour to a bowl, and you want to make sure that you sift it as well as you can. So you see me here sifting flour into the bowl. I'm doing it in batches, and the reason I'm sifting it is because you want to make sure you get as few lumps as possible in your batter. This is the dry ingredients. These flour sifters are fairly cheap, but if you can't find one, I recommend just really whisking the dry ingredients well, just to make sure you get as many lumps out as possible. Again, this is going to be the difference between you having lumps in your batter and not having lumps in your batter, so it's a crucial step. By the way, I'm going to have all of the ingredients listed below, but in the measuring cup, I added 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of this baking soda, pure baking soda, and 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and a little pinch of salt, about half a teaspoon. You want to sift this into the bowl with the flour as well. I sift all my ingredients just because I want to make sure, again, there are no lumps in the batter, and whisk it well as you can. Now, I have a stand mixer, so I use the stand mixer for this, but you can use a hand mixer. I don't want you to feel like you have to have this big fancy equipment in order to do what you need to do in the kitchen. Okay, so I added the paddle attachment because I wound up doing it. This is off camera, y'all. I swear to God, I thought I did this on camera, but I beat 2 sticks of room temperature butter, 1 1/3 cup of granulated sugar until it was nice and smooth. And what you see here is me adding 1 egg and 1 egg yolk, 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And then this is the trick to using the stand mixer. If you do use it, you want to gradually increase the speed. Please do not create a mess over your kitchen because you started at a high speed. You're going to beat those ingredients though until it gets a little fluffy like this. Trust the process, y'all. This is gonna be a long process, but I do want y'all to know it's so simple that a monkey could do it. I say it all the time, but a monkey could do this. You want to scrape the sides of the bowl and the bottom, and this is where we start to add our dry mixture. So I add about 1/3 of the mixture at a time as to not overwhelm the batter, my stand mixer, or myself, because, you know, obviously, like the rest of us, I am holding on by a thread mentally. You want to make sure that you slowly bring up that speed, because you see how I almost created a dust cloud. You want to slowly increase that speed and make sure you scrape the paddle and the sides of the bowl. And again, gradually incorporate the flour. I added another 1/3, and then I went back in and made sure I incorporated that. It's gonna get to the point where it may look a little clumpy, you might get a little nervous, but again, try to maintain your composure. But I mean, who am I kidding? We can barely even maintain our mental health. Okay. Make sure you continue to scrape down the sides of the bowl and the paddle so you can make sure you're getting as much of the clumps out as possible and that all of the dough is being mixed. Then at this point, you do want to add the rest of the flour, and I promise you it's going to make you a little nervous if you're not used to baking, because it will look a little clumpy and like it's not enough moisture, but I promise if you trust the process, everything will come together like life does in the end. So this is the dough here. I transferred it to a bowl, and this is going to go in the fridge and chill. In the meantime, we're going to take a separate bowl, add 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, and we're going to add about 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, y'all. Add as much cinnamon as you want. Life is too damn short. You're going to add this in a bowl and mix it, because this is what we're going to be dipping the Snickerdoodle dough balls into before we put it into the oven. Again, y'all, add as much cinnamon as you want. Life is too damn short. But I have a greased pan, our chilled dough, and a scooper, an ice cream scooper. And you're going to take this and take out a scoop of dough at a time and roll it into a ball. With this ball, you're going to take it and roll it around in our sugar cinnamon mixture. This dough is enough for a dozen Snickerdoodle cups and roughly half a dozen extra Snickerdoodle cookies, so have fun with that, y'all. You're going to repeat the process of forming this dough ball and rolling it around in the sugar until you fill up the pan. I have a pan that fits 12 So I recommend using one of those if you have that as an option. After this, I took a greased up cup. You can use a glass. Sorry, y'all, if I know y'all care about Mother Nature and whatnot. I do too, I promise. But this was just in my house, so I figured I should use it. I greased that and then I pressed into the ball so I can form it into the cup shape. In the process of making this, I learned that it was easiest when you wiggled it a lot in the middle while you applied pressure so you can make sure that the sides were as even as possible. Also, sidebar, I wanted to par bake these, aka put some parchment or cupcake cups in the middle and put beans in it so it can maintain a shape, but I could not find those cupcake cups to save my life. So I recommend doing that too. But don't worry if you don't got that because you can figure it out like I did. So while this is in the oven for 9 to 12 minutes at 375, we're gonna make our cheesecake filling. In a bowl, you're gonna add 8 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, 1 1/4 cups of heavy or whipping cream, and then after this, you're gonna add 1/4 of a cup of sour cream. Trust this process, y'all. This is a no-bake cheesecake filling. After you add this, you also are gonna add roughly 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I did what the hell I had to do. That's all I had left. So y'all do the right thing. Don't be like me. You're gonna add the rest of that granulated sugar mixture that we use for the dough balls, which is about 1/3 of a cup, and then you wanna blend it. I use an immersion blender. Please feel free to use a hand mixer, a whisk, or a regular blender. You do whatever you got to do, baby. And if you have the arm strength for that, good luck. But this is the part where I say trust the process the most because it looks like so milky and you're just like, what in the hell is going on? But I promise if you keep at it, like it's going to come together and be really velvety smooth. I find that you get the best outcome when you use an immersion. Again, y'all, this is so simple. A monkey could do it, but probably not because a monkey would need some tools. And why would a monkey do this? Anyways, I got a large cup, put a plastic piping bag in here, and I know like a lot of us don't have this, but you can use a Ziploc bag or something like that too. But these are important to have in your kitchen. I would say invest in these little tiny baggies. You want to scrape all of the mixture out of the bowl and put it in this bag and then put the bag in the fridge and let it chill. And if you timed it well enough, by the time you finish, so is the Snickerdoodle Cups. So if you did not have the resources to par bake it like me, just press it down, y'all. Do not be nervous if you see it puffy like this. Take a spoon, press down the middle so you have room for the filling. While this is cooling, I'm gonna show you how to make the homemade caramel sauce. So I did this in real time because I know this is gonna be nerve-wracking. A lot of us don't have candy thermometers. I do, but I was like, let me just do it without one. So I added 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar to a pot. And you see me here stirring it in the pot. After a few minutes, it'll start to brown. And you want to stir it around until it can get nice and golden colored like this, like an amber color. So you see it starting here. And I'm still mixing because I want to get as many of the clumps in the sugar out. I did all of this over a medium heat, and just be careful to watch it and keep stirring so you don't let it burn. Keep stirring. It'll eventually wind up looking like this. You can see there is still some clumps in there, and I'm going in and I'm still stirring. I'm breaking up the clumps, and you want to get it to as smooth of a consistency as you possibly can, because that is going to be important so there aren't lumps when you do add the butter and cream. Speaking of butter and cream, that is the next step. After you break up as many clumps as you possibly can, you want to add 3 tablespoons of butter. And I mean roughly, because this is me roughly adding 3 tablespoons of butter. I just let my ancestors speak through me, but you can do it by the book if you really need to. You want to turn off the heat too. This is a point where I turned off the heat, and you want to stir it because you, again, do not want clumps and stuff to form. The goal is to get the drizzle as smooth as possible. At this point, I also add heavy cream. So I add roughly 1/3 of a cup. The more cream you add, the more runny the drizzle, the less cream, the more thick. So I wanted mine a little bit on the thicker side, but not too thick. And you see me stirring this all up. Again, turn the heat off while you're doing this, and you want to just continually stir until you see a good consistency. I know making caramel, whatever you say, making it from scratch can seem intimidating, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually super simple. After you mix it up some more, making sure that there aren't any like clumps, like huge clumps forming, you also want to add a pinch of salt. I just added a little bit of a sprinkle. I recommend pinching the salt before you do this, but I trust the way I do it because this is going to make it taste, it's going to elevate the flavor of the sauce a little bit more. After you mix it and get it to a point where you feel like the consistency is good, you want to put it in a glass jar. I put mine in a mason jar and I just let it sit to the side for a little bit, and then I cooled it even further in the fridge. But see, y'all, this is not hard. Do not be intimidated and try new things in the kitchen. I promise you got it more than you think you do. Now that our Snickerdoodle cups cooled and our cheesecake filling cooled, you take it and you pipe it in the center. This is where the fun starts for me. I love piping. And the cheesecake filling is so good, y'all. Oh my God, I cannot wait for y'all to try this. If you try this, I added the caramel drizzle to a piping bag and I took it and I ran over the top of all of these Snickerdoodle cups. This is fun, y'all. If you have kids, please do this with kids. Kids love stuff like this. And do it for your inner child too, because I love stuff like this. That's pretty much all there is to it though. Please like and subscribe. Bye.